everybody, welcome to another episode of From What I Gather, where today I'm going to be pressure canning some venison in Mexican style spices that's going to make for great tacos and burritos right out of the pantry, and it's a real special treat to take to hunting camp. It's real easy to do and everyone's going to love it, so let's get started. This is a really good way to use up some of the oddball ends and pieces that you end up with after you butcher a deer. I usually will grind these up, but there's a lot of other ways to use them, and this is one of them. Because even the toughest pieces of meat are going to render down into a nice shred during this process. So I am going to begin by trimming just the real heavy-duty stuff off of there, like that tendon. I mean, it could go in there and it would just kind of melt away. I'll go ahead and take it off. And that's fine like this. The silver skin here, that's gonna just melt and all this on the outside. So now I just want to cut this into some good sized chunks, you know, depending on how big I want the shred to be. So these are kind of 1.5 inches wide or so. And that's about it. I'm just gonna cut these into nice chunks like that, and then we're gonna season these up and start packing jars. Of course, you don't have to just use scrap for this. You can use a real nice roast like this and get those real beautiful clean chunks of meat, and that just makes for beautiful jars of meat. My meat's all cut up and now it's time to season it, and for this recipe I'm just going to use these ready-made taco seasoning packets that are super inexpensive and easy to find. You can make your own spice blend and put it on here, but for the sake of simplicity, this is what I'm going with today. Now the recipe on here calls for 1 packet for every pound of meat, but that's a little salty for my taste, so I'm going to use about 3/4 of a packet for every pound of meat. I'm working with 7 pounds of meat today, and I'm going to use probably 5 of these packets. It's just, my meat's all seasoned up. I'm going to add just a little bit of water to help kind of move that seasoning around. I just want to get this to be kind of damp or moist all the way around, so just a splash of water. So I've got a sterilized jar here that I've boiled and sterilized lids and rings. Some people don't bother sterilizing their stuff when they do this process because they feel like it's going to cook at such a high temperature for so long that it's going to eliminate any harmful bacteria, but I always steer toward the side of safety when I'm doing something like this because it's just not worth the risks. So let's put this together. I'm going to go ahead and start with a few tablespoons of tomato sauce in the bottom of, this is a pint jar. I'm going to add a nice big spoonful of chopped jalapeno. You could use serranos or habaneros or whatever, depending on the heat level you're going for. I'm also going to do some, and I'm just going to put in a few tablespoons of this. The diced tomatoes and green chilies all ready to go, and I'll just put that in the bottom, you know, about a 1/4 cup or so in the bottom, maybe a little less. Now, we'll go ahead and fill this with our meat. Just push it down lightly. You don't want to really stuff it tight, but you do want to kind of eliminate as much of the little air pockets down there as you can. And you want that filled up to about 1 inch from the top, just below the bottom thread there. I usually go. Find one more small piece in here. I'll just top that right off. Perfect. Okay, and now we're gonna wipe the rim down so we got a nice clean rim for our lid. Put our lid on there, and then put the ring on there. If it fights you like that, it's probably warped, so I'm gonna get rid of that one. I reuse the rings. I never ever reuse the lids, of course, and any rings that have damage like that or that don't go on real smooth, I'm gonna pitch those because I want to make sure I got a really good seal on there. There we go. Right on smooth, and I'm just going to tighten that till it's snug. I'm not going to really wrench it down. And that one is ready for the canner. So, just to make sure my canner is full, I'm not wasting any space, I'm also canning some shad in curry today. And it's pretty fine because it's going to process for the same time at the same pressure. And I'll put a link in the description on my video on how to can shad in case you want to look into that. So my jars are ready to go. My pressure canner is over here, heated up. I'm going to load the jars into the hot pressure canner now. And those will process at 10 pounds pressure for 110 minutes. So I've had this heating over high heat for a few minutes, and once I get a nice stream of steam coming from the little port right there, I'll go ahead and put on the weight. And then I'm going to bring this up over fairly high heat until I get to 10 pounds of pressure. Then I'm going to adjust the heat to hold it at 10 pounds of pressure and start a timer for 110 minutes. Okay, so much time has passed, but this thing's still very hot, but my pressure gauge is reading 0, and this little thing has dropped, which lets me know that it's now safe to take off the weight. Open this up and see how we did. Well, looks pretty good. I don't think we lost any of them, as in breakage. Smells good, like chili. So you can see that these are still boiling hot. And I'd really love to get in there and try one because they smell great, but unfortunately I'm going to have to put these onto a cooling rack and wait until they cool down completely. So pretty much overnight. The jars are all cooled down now, and I've tested them to make sure they've all sealed by pushing on the top and making sure it doesn't pop in and out. And if you have some that don't seal perfectly, just put those in the refrigerator and use them within the next few days and you're going to be just fine. There's no need to have that go to waste. So now it's time to get inside of here and see how we did. That's a good sound. It smells great. It looks good too. See, it shreds nicely. I'll just give that a try. Well, that tastes very good just on its own right out of the jar. But I'm going to heat this up on the stovetop for a little bit and give it another try. Well, let's see how we did. The shred is really nice. I mean, this comes apart really well. It's great for making tacos and burritos or enchiladas or what have you. Let's give it a taste. Oh my, that is dynamite. Let me tell you, you're going to want to be careful who you share this with because they are not going to leave you alone until they know you're out. It's that good. Wow, I mean, the seasoning is delicious and the texture of the meat is just fantastic. I really hope you try this, and I really hope you'll love it. And if you do, please like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.